Hey guys, it's Dennis here, and this is another episode of the Revog Games Podcast. I'm also joined by...
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa, excited to be here.
Yeah, and as you can see kind of behind Josh, and maybe you saw in the thumbnail, one of the main topics today, we're going to talk about the whole GameStop stock squeeze that's going on, the craziness.
Eat the rich, Dennis. Eat the rich.
Yeah, it's funny because it's a game related topic, but it's also in a way not. I mean, it's a bigger discussion to have. Anyways, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Knights of the Old Republic. We're going to talk about the Medium game, which just came out on Xbox Series X and Windows. Cyberpunk mod. Tomb Raider anime, some Marvel's Avengers news, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So let's talk about the big thing, because this is connected to games, but at the same time, much bigger than just games. But it definitely involves the gaming community and the online world. And look, me and Josh are not stock
We're not
experts.
Wall Street guys.
No, we're not Wall Street guys. So we're going to talk in the basic understanding that we know it to be, so don't take any of the stuff we have as like expert opinion about this stuff. But anyways, we had talked about this before in our last episode, because at that time I think the GameStop thing
had just started. Yeah.
It had just started. I think I just saw the news and I just mentioned to Josh, oh, by the way, blah blah blah, GameStop. But anyways, it's become such a much bigger deal, which is basically, if anyone who doesn't know, the GameStop stock started rising significantly because basically a whole bunch of online people on Reddit had seen that some larger hedge fund companies, and I'm not sure exactly the classifications for all the different money management firms that were doing this, but they were shorting the stock. If people don't know, shorting the stock means that you're basically betting on the stock to go down, and you make money off of that. So, and you set like kind of time windows. Okay, I'm going to short this stock for X amount, like a week or something like that, or a few days. And you're betting that it goes down. And if it does go down, you get, you're basically able to buy it at a cheaper price. I don't know the exact transaction, but anyways, you make money.
I got a good explanation for it real quick over here. Because essentially what's happening here, I mean, even though people are talking about the memes as if it's like hedge funds, and it's like, I guess it's similar to hedge funds in a sort, but it's like, well, it's the same kind of thing that happened, if you will, you know what I mean, with the housing market collapse. But what's happening is you have the Wall Street guys, the one percenters, if you will, even they're doing short stocking, which the best explanation I got for it is when it's a strategy where an investor borrows stock of that particular company, in this case GameStop, and sells it in the hopes that that price for the stock will continue to drop. If that happens, they can buy back the stock for an even cheaper amount and then keep the difference as profit. So that's how they make money off of it. Because I was wondering,
which is the opposite. Which is the opposite of normal stock. Right? You buy stocks and you're hoping the price goes up so that you can sell it at a higher price. You're just betting it goes down, and the way that you explained it is how they get their money. So they were all betting on GameStop to go down,
which was a safe bet. Which is a safe bet.
Yeah. Look, I mean, ultimately, I know no one wants to hear this, but because this extends to GameStop and it extends to other companies like AMC, because they were targeted by Reddit fans to be invested in. Anyways, it's the stock market is such a speculative market. It's supposed to be performance based, but it's very speculative. So if you think about it, like both GameStop and AMC theaters don't have a very bright future. But because the stock market can be manipulated by either people buying lots of stock or shorting a lot of stock, you can kind of have those prices go up and down and whatnot. And it's not really based on performance or even outlook. So a bunch of I don't know, people with a lot of money decided that, okay, GameStop is a good bet to short. And basically, a lot of people online, kind of spurred by this Reddit subreddit, actually. What is it? Wall Street bets, right above you. Decided, you know what? Let's squeeze these guys, and they started buying into the GameStop stock to make the price go up, which basically cost all these guys, the rich guys, a ton of money, like billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And basically, they're like holding the stock as well, not selling it. And so the longer they hold and the more they buy, the more the stock goes up, and it's screwing over the big guys. And they did it with AMC theaters, and I think they plan on doing it with. They're doing it with a lot of nostalgic stuff that is eventually gonna go away. So that's kind of they're basically trolling the big guys.
Wall Street, man.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it, man. Power to the people.
Yeah. The problem is that the big guys have already done this to the little guys before in their own ways, right? Like if they decide, hey, there's a stock we think whether it's going to be short or it's going to go up, they'll invest a ton of money into manipulating the price of the stock to go up or down and profit off of that. And now that the little guys are doing it collectively, they've decided, no, you can't do that. And, apps like Robinhood and a bunch of other stuff have made it so that you can only sell these stocks and not buy them, therefore helping artificially drive down the price of the stock. So, I mean, that's my basic understanding of that. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like we said, so it's an issue of short stocking and short squeezing. We the people look. This is a situation where people lost billions, but I don't think it's going to affect those people too much. They lost a lot of money, but they're still doing a lot better than most of us. So it's a win for the little guy. It looks like they're going to be they're trying to do it with AMC next, essentially, and it's like a mixture of. It's one of those things where the reason why it hit so hard is because it also had like a bit of a crypto boom. It started out with this whole like petty approach of like, screw you guys, we're gonna screw you guys for short stock, and we're gonna short squeeze you. We the people from Reddit, and then as that like started like tumbling down, the rest of the people joining in are just trying to make a quick buck. You know what I mean? Like, which is also very fair. And for a lot of people did make a quick buck. I know a lot of streamers who made a good amount of money. I know people who are still making money. The issue here is like the controlling of this market that's supposed to be a free market. We joke about it, the fact that it's like a free market all the time, but clearly it's not a free market, because I know like right now Robinhood, which is it's an investment app. If you guys haven't heard of Robinhood, or if you guys haven't seen the sponsors on YouTube, they sponsor
and they were gonna have their IPO soon, which is not gonna happen now.
Yeah, definitely not. So I think they're right now. Let me confirm this real quick. Yeah, they just got hit with a class action lawsuit because they essentially stopped you from being able to buy GameStop stock, as well as AMC and a couple others.
Yeah.
So they were stopping you from. That's basically controlling the market.
Yeah.
And then
that's
I think a day later, they rolled out an update saying that they will actually allow the buying of these things, but in only limited numbers, which is still controlling the market. Yeah, they're just trying to find some kind of gray area where they don't get sued, I think. And they're going to get sued regardless, which is ironic, because the app is named Robin Hood. They're all about, steal from the rich. And here we are, stealing from the rich. And they're like, no, you can't do that.
But it's not even stealing from the rich. Look, the thing is,
we're playing their game. We're playing the same game.
The Wall Street has been playing this game for many, many years and making tons of money off of it. And now suddenly, when the little guys want to band together and do something like that, no, it becomes suddenly, not illegal, but now they've kind of closed off the means to do that, which frankly is at the very least unethical. We'll find out soon if it's going to be illegal, because you have that class action lawsuit. You also probably will have, hopefully, some Congress investigations on this whole thing. It's hilarious, because
you want to know the weirdest thing, Dennis, is that I always gotta read her name because I can never pronounce her properly. Alexandria. What's
AOC.
her?
AOC.
Yeah, I'll just call her AOC. I can never pronounce her middle name. But she and Ted Cruz actually both agree on something, which is crazy. Which is that they both agree that this whole Robinhood thing was absurd. And she even did a tweet where it's like, thanks for the support, but considering you tried to kill me 3 weeks ago, you can keep it to yourself. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Like, look, I think GameStop's shares before COVID-19, before all this happened, they were averaging at like $3 to $6 a share. Now it's at currently $386 a share, or at least I don't know if that's currently, but this was like about a day or two ago. It was that's when it was at its peak,
Yeah, I mean,
it took a dip. It took a dip because it wasn't just Robinhood. There was apparently other apps, like investment apps, that also stopped you from buying. So it wasn't just them. So it took a hit, and currently I think
it's collusion. That's the thing. That's the problem. It's
right?
Like you have these big, money management firms banding together, or maybe not so much banding together, but like driving up prices or shorting companies with all the money that they have and they control, and then suddenly when you have people with less money but you have more of them doing the same thing, it suddenly becomes no, you can't do that. Basically, they're changing the rules of the game mid-game
to suit their own needs, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, which is it's stupid, man.
Yeah, I saw a good analogy. It's like if you're playing a football game, and let's say you're the underdog, or your team is the underdog, and the other team is favored to win by a lot. But for some reason, you start winning. The first half, you go up by like 50 points, and suddenly during halftime they decide with the refs and let's say the NFL, they're like, well, you know what, we're gonna have to change the rules now. Every time this favored team scores, it's not gonna be 7 points anymore, it's gonna be 100 points. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically kind of what's happening. It's like these rules seem to only apply to the rich people or the people controlling all the money, and the little guys can't even when the little guys follow the rules, they still can't get the same return.
Man, like, it's one of those things where this is going to be a developing, ongoing. Most likely, we'll probably be talking about this again next week with updates and like as to how this has developed.
Well, the thing is,
it's like we said, it's not really gaming related, but it is kind of gaming related because it's
it just happens to be a gaming related company. But look, they're targeting AMC to do this. But the whole thing is, if this movement keeps going, and I hope it does, they can target anything. They can decide, like, you know what, I'm going to figure out. Right now, I just find it funny that they're kind of targeting more nostalgic kind of things that they know may look attractive to people who want to short a particular company. I think larger money management companies are going to be very wary of trying to short these companies or these type of companies. But yeah,
it looks like they're gonna, like, the White House is looking into possible regulations in the future, which I think is just gonna backfire in terms of like the public support. They're just gonna be like, "What? Screw you guys! Now you want to regulate?"
Yeah, exactly.
Now? After how many years of rich people getting richer,
Let's just say this: like, a bunch of people, not everyone, but let's say half the country wanted more regulations on Wall Street, but they never got passed because there's so many lobbyists, that fund a lot of politicians. So it didn't. Things get. There were supposed to be more regulations after the Great Recession in 2008, but they didn't learn their lessons, and they just started to deregulate more. There was nothing really fixed. People didn't go to jail. Like, none of that happened, and then so things either stayed deregulated or became more deregulated. And now that this has happened, suddenly there's some sort of, oh no, now we gotta start regulating these smaller investors.
Man, I'm wondering if I should get in on it because I was reading on it now, and it's like they're doing like some research on like what's Wall Street Bet's end game, and for the most part, it's don't sell. You're gonna want to hold onto this stock. The longer you hold onto the stock, the more damage you're doing to the people who are short stocking. And a lot of people are saying they're not going to sell until that market price hits like 1,000 per share. So if people are that adamant, it might still look, the bubbles burst, but it's like crypto. It looks like if this is going to be an ongoing thing, it looks like you can still make some money. It also looks like you could still lose some money. So be careful. That's just how that's how the game works. What I'm not like super outraged about, because I don't have too much information on it, but it seems like America specifically was limiting the buying of these shares and stocks, so much so that Wall Street Bets they reached out to other countries, and mainly like I think Canada stepped up, and Canada's like, well, we can still buy GameStop stocks. So all these other countries like pitched in there like, don't worry, America, we got your back. We also like to eat the rich. So that's cool. So it is an ongoing thing. It seems like, isn't that going to be funny that like GameStop shares I don't think it's going to be the next Bitcoin, but it's like, it's basically treated like crypto at this point,
Yeah, but the thing is, people will eventually move on. I mean, there'll be another battleground. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Eventually,
AMC is probably going to be the next one,
I mean, eventually this bubble is going to burst. I mean, the money, there is still a limited amount of money, even from the collective amount of people. So they're going to have to be able to move their money elsewhere. I said on Thursday, which was yesterday, it went to $483 a share, but then it ended up having it's just going up and down depending on people buying and then also access to buying and whatever. So, and then some people, who really aren't for the movement, they're buying it, waiting until it goes up and then selling it and just making a profit on this whole insanity. So
that's just crazy. And then it's also like BlackBerry. Looking at the stocks
like I said, they're targeting companies that don't have a particularly bright future outlook.
Futures, yeah. Well, it seems like, looking at all of them, it seems like the AMC hasn't gone up in a while. It seems like everyone's still very focused on GameStop, because after a while it seemed like it was there was a bit of a boom with AMC and BlackBerry, but that's gone down because of
you can only do one at a time.
You
can only do one at a time. Everyone's focusing on GameStop. People are holding their stock. Basically, it's funny. People are like screaming, "Hold the line!" People were doing that with crypto.
Hold the line.
Yeah, well, I mean, people were doing that with cryptocurrency. With Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever. Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because this has been developing over the course of the week since we last had this podcast. It's been interesting to see how it's like. I thought that the boom would have, like, because the bubble did crash like a day or two ago, and then it went back up again. You know what I mean? That surprised me. The fact that it had a second boom. You know what I mean?
Because it's larger than just money. I mean, it is
true.
money, but
it's also about pettiness. It's like next level pettiness, which I'm there for. I'm there for it, man. Yeah. Next level trolling. I love it, man. Power to the people.
Well, it is definitely next level trolling. When you're talking about billions of dollars lost, and you're talking about, what was that one, Melkin Capital or whatever? They had to borrow like $2 billion. Yeah, something like that. And they still had to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
The money just it's gone, because people's their short selling time is that their window's already happened, and it's just it's a game related thing, but it's also bigger than game related. It just happened to be GameStop that was the stock that was the battleground, and who knows what the next one will be and for how long this will keep going. But yeah, I'd like to see some investigations go on and figure out how this
we'll definitely have more news in a week for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So that's enough about that. I'm sure we'll keep following this as time goes on. next bit of news that is actually really, really game related is there's rumors going around that Knights of the Old Republic, there's been rumors about a remaster of the first 2 games into one, but this one is reportedly that it's not EA or BioWare that's making this game, and they're not actually acknowledging whether this is the remaster or a brand new title. So it may be a thing where EA and BioWare are remastering the first 2 games.
It could be a reboot to make it more like fit into canon as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a possibility that EA and BioWare are still doing that reboot, and that this one is a brand new one. Maybe this is
oh wow, that's true.
Knights of the Old Republic 3 or whatever, that type of thing. Who knows? And then the rumors they've been talking about, like, it's the developer is someone that you would know, but it's not like one of the big ones. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, someone that you would never guess, they say, which is like, it leads me to believe it's going to be something like I don't know, like it's going to be like out there. You know what I mean? Like,
what would you think though? Like, it can't be huge, right? It's not going to be
Nickelodeon Studios. No, I don't know.
Because when I first heard another studio, I was like, oh, maybe it's Respawn or something like that, because they did, pretty well with the Jedi Fallen.
I'm old for
but
that.
That's too big. That's too big.
Yeah.
They're too big. They're saying it's not a household name, like it's not going to be a Respawn or anything like that. I'm just trying to think of like what's one of the smaller developers that are like kind of known amongst the gaming community, but not huge, like one of those.
Yeah, well, like the keyword for me is that it's like we would never guess it, so it's got to be from a studio who probably doesn't really do
has
like
no Star Wars
RPGs
ties,
RPGs,
and probably has no Star Wars ties. Yeah,
because it's like, well, then again, because that's what I was surprised by. The developer, I forget the developer's name, but the people who made Horizon Zero Dawn, they did Killzone, which is a very different game. And like that was the last game they did. Mind you, there was like a 10-year gap between Killzone 3 and Horizon Zero Dawn. There was like a huge gap in their like production line of whatever they were putting out. But yeah, like that was unexpected, I don't know. Maybe it'll be something super unexpected like Naughty Dog,
Nah,
that'd be
too big.
That'd be out there, like too big as well. You're right. Yeah.
Too big, and then also exclusivity. Why am I stumbling on that word? So
it's good news. It's good news nonetheless, because like, look, this is something that I know both of us would love. Anything Knights of the Old Republic related, I would love. I've always wanted like a series or a movie set in there, but I'd be more than happy to get another game or a new game.
Yeah. I'd like to. I hope the rumor is true that it's a brand new game and that EA and BioWare are still working on the reboot. So we get both. That we get a reboot of 1 and 2 with modern graphics and a modern battle system, and then also they're probably going to adjust the story to make sure it fits canon, and then having a separate company do Knights of the Old Republic 3, and see how that goes, and hopefully that
would be quite cool.
Yeah. So,
and there's still a bounty hunter game as well.
Yeah, you have the open RPG.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I'm excited for, because guess what I binged all of today that I'm so late to the game on.
What?
The Mandalorian. I binged it today. I'm so late to the game, but wow!
I was pretty late. Yeah, I was pretty late. I
good,
binged it maybe a few weeks ago, and that's considered. Everything got spoiled for me, so but it was still great, still fantastic.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm very surprised, but I thought it was overhyped originally. But after watching it, I was like, you know what? This really is like great quality. This isn't TV series quality.
The first season
like
got
Thrones quality, I guess.
First season got nominated for best drama series at the Emmys. So this one is like even better. So I feel like this will be nominated as well.
It almost like, because it does make me want like a Mandalorian game. I want to be raised like I would love like an RPG like that where I get picked up or I'm a foundling. You know what I mean? That would be sick. And it's all about learning.
I'd rather be a bounty hunter like a Mandalorian and going on missions in different planets or whatnot.
That's true. Yeah, be part of the guild or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic. We have The Medium, just got released, which is kind of like, it's not a huge title, but it's big enough. It's also the first, what I consider, because I consider anything that's Xbox with Windows exclusive and exclusive. What's of note too is that this one is not appearing on Xbox One. It's only Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and Windows. And also it's on Game Pass on day one. Game Pass, the best deal in town. I downloaded it. I played it for 45 minutes, and I have to say I'm quite enjoying it. It's giving me Alan Wake vibes. Now, I haven't really gotten into the combat part of the game, but I'm just talking about more of the atmosphere. It's a third-person perspective type game. There's a lot of story to it, voice acting and whatnot, puzzle solving.
It seems like there's a bit of platforming involved as well. I can't tell, but at least from the trailers and screenshots, it seems like a game that would have a bit of like puzzles and platformers involved as well.
Definitely some puzzle, which factors into the split screen aspect of it, which is the first time I've ever seen. I've seen other games, like if you played Titanfall 2, they had that where you kind of switch back and forth, and then certain things you can help out. But this one has an actual part where it splits into two screens, and you actually are controlling the same character in two different worlds. But in certain worlds, you have certain objects that can help you out in another world. So I'm like 30 to 45 minutes into it, but I'm liking it so far. It's getting some decent reviews, and it's getting a decent amount of buzz online. And it's not like I said, it's not like a AAA. This isn't The Last of Us. This isn't Uncharted or something like that for Xbox, but it's a nice win. It's a nice small win for Microsoft, in my opinion. What do you think?
I was gonna say I don't have much information on it so far because I don't want to spoil anything for myself. Because the game, like you said, it's on Game Pass. It's on Game Pass for PC as well as normal Game Pass, and I had it pre-installed. So I'm probably gonna play it as soon as we're done here because it looks like it does look really interesting. I love story-driven games.
Yes.
I like the whole. Well, I mean, like I'm gonna have to experience it for myself to really get a hold on this whole split screen thing because you're controlling two versions of her at the same time.
Yes, but the worlds are different. So
are you using? Is it a stick for each version of her? Like left stick for the left.
What you move in one world, you're moving in the other. Exact same.
Oh, okay.
But the environment is different, and your powers are different. Like what you can do, your character can do. Like your character. Okay. I mean, this isn't a big spoiler, but like in the first split screen puzzle that I had to do, I had to use her version in the spirit world to activate something that would in the what they call the material world is the real world, so that I could open a door.
Obviously it's from the same people that did Blair Witch.
Is it? I know it's what's it, Bloober?
Yeah. Bloober Team's horror games. Yeah.
I'm not really into horror. I'm not really into horror, but I like this so far. I like the feel of it. I like I said, it gives me Alan Wake feelings to it.
It does actually have that vibe for sure. Yeah. It's so silly to think of this, but it actually the entire like premise and idea behind this game reminds me of a Minecraft mod. Where it was that was more parkour orientated, but it was called the Dimension Hopper, and you were switching between dimensions. You weren't doing the split screen thing like in this game, but you were literally switching between dimensions. Like the world would change, you would still be in the same position, and you'd have to do parkour in between dimensions, which is quite difficult. But I like the premise of it. You know what I mean? And I think there's going to be. I'm looking forward to the puzzle aspects behind it, and it seems like a horror game with a good story instead of just being a horror game. It looks like a horror game with a good story, which I like.
I'm getting used to the controls because what they do is the scenes are set up to give for two reasons. One, for there's more cinematic like camera angles as you move your characters, and then two, it's to maximize the scares. The old Resident Evil used to do that as well, right? Because you were a third-person perspective. and the way you kind of controlled it within a room, they would kind of give certain angles to maximize the tension and whatnot. So it's doing that, but it is a little kind of hard to get used to because when you're moving around, sometimes when you're moving forward and it cuts to another scene, then really you're moving up. You know what I mean? Like it just switches the
It seems like that's the biggest complaint of the game, is that you have to do a lot of course correcting when it switches camera angles on you.
Yeah. So that's something you have to kind of get used to. You know, I'm seeing like pretty positive scores. Some people are giving it kind of like mediocre scores, but I don't know. I think overall this is a small win for Microsoft and Xbox. Is it going to move a ton of units? No, but when I saw it, I was excited. Remember, I've been very critical. I've been very critical. Yeah, sure. I've been very critical of Microsoft and Xbox and their kind of launch strategy for the Xbox Series X, where one, you didn't have any exclusive titles. Halo Infinite got delayed. They didn't have anything. Where Sony had at least some stuff in there. Like, granted, okay, Miles Morales wasn't exclusive just to PS5, but a lot of people wanted to play it on PS5. And you can't play it on Xbox. So to me, that's kind of like at least their PS4, PS5 exclusive. And so this is kind of Xbox's first one. So I think it's a good positive direction. I hope we see that, especially for Game Pass, right? This is such a great game for Game Pass, right? Because it's like, okay, maybe I wouldn't have bought this game, but because I'm subscribed to Game Pass, I'm going to check it out due to the fact that it looks interesting. And so I downloaded it on my PC. I don't have Xbox Series X yet. So I have Ultimate Game Pass, so I downloaded on there and started playing it, and I'm liking it so far. I'm going to keep going with it. So I don't know. I think this is a good sign. And you said you're going to start playing right after this, right?
Yeah, pretty much as soon as we're done here. I was going to say, because they added the whole Yakuza series, or most of the Yakuza series, to GameStop as well. And then, like we said, eventually we're going to see a lot of Bethesda titles on there once that move gets confirmed. Yeah.
There are already the titles on there, but the question is whether their AAA new titles are going to be exclusive, and we'll see. I have a feeling.
Well, I mean,
on
Game Pass for PC, we only have Fallout 76, but I'm sure we're going to get the rest of their catalog soon. You know, like Skyrim Special Edition.
Skyrim, is on. I don't know on PC, but it's on Xbox.
It's not on PC.
Yeah, I think like a bunch of the Bethesda games are like Doom. Doom's on both.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Doom. Yeah, that's true. We do have Doom Eternal. Yeah, but it's I mean, look, it's going to happen eventually. We're still waiting for EA Play to join the Game Pass for PC. It is part of Game Pass. It just hasn't been part of Game Pass for PC yet. And I think that's because they made a deal with
It's such a great deal. All the Dragon Age is on there. Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age the second one I didn't really care for, but Inquisition's
we don't talk
on
about
there.
The second one, Dennis. Yeah. No one talks about the second one.
Because I don't even know.
We pretend it didn't exist. It was a very linear experience.
They try to make it like an action tactics strategy game or whatever, a real-time strategy game almost.
Stripped it of most of its RPG mechanics, yeah.
But
yeah, moving forward.
So, but tied to this medium release in Game Pass is that Microsoft kind of reported earnings, and they said Xbox hardware, they launched its Series X and Series S, have helped drive profits. But another thing that was most notable is that they have 18 million subscribers to Game Pass right now. In comparison to something like Netflix, okay, Netflix has how many hundreds of millions? It's not there yet, but 18 million is nothing to sneeze at. Let's say, I don't know, the PC one's much cheaper, so I don't know how to average the money. The standard Xbox one's about $10, and then Ultimate's about $15. Let's just say $10. You're talking about $10 a pop or per person per month times 180 or 18 million. You're talking about $180 million per month, and per year, that's $2.1 billion. And look, this is just a guesstimate on the average pay that each person's paying per month, but $2.1 billion a year. I mean, they do have to pay the licensing fees for all these other games that they're licensing, but still, Netflix was in the red for a long, long time. I don't know where they're, Amazon too. But it's about establishing that user base. And I think Game Pass is one of the things like Netflix where once you get it, you just don't stop. You don't unsubscribe. Yeah. Once I've got Netflix, I have not unsubscribed since I got it. And that's how many years ago? That's like since 2000 something when I first started Netflix. I haven't stopped.
It's because you don't see any losses to it. It's the same with Game Pass. Once you have it, there's literally no downsides to having it. Same with Netflix. There's no downsides to having it, you know?
Well, the only downside is if they stop making new content, you know, obviously movies and television for Netflix and games for Game Pass. If they stop, that's when you drop out. And the fact that Microsoft is putting their AAA exclusive games on there, there's no reason to not have it, to be honest. Yeah. Unless the only reason not to have it is if you have an Xbox and you only buy one
game a year.
Microsoft game a year. Seriously, that's the only reason. You buy one game a year and that's it. So
yeah, no, it's genuine. It's a great deal. I always tell people to get it for sure. Yeah. But we'll talking about it because like you said, they had a record earnings. I got something to talk about with regards to that more or less, which is I just got to bring it up again here because I wonder like how same with Sony. I wonder how this is going to actually affect their 2021. God damn it, where'd the article go now? It has to do with was it AMD? Who supplies the CPU? I think it's AMD, right?
Let me see here. But yeah, I saw there was chip shortages for both.
There's going to be chip shortages
AMD. It's AMD for both PS5 and Xbox Series X.
So at least halfway through 2021. So that's definitely going to. If you guys have been, for those who are listening and have been watching this podcast for a while, you know, my aim was to buy a PlayStation 5 on its second run of production, which it seems like is going to be a while if they're having shortages. So I'm not going to be getting one in March like I assumed. I'm going to have to wait until later into 2021 to be able to get that because I don't think they're going to be doing a second production run anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said,
that'll affect Sony and Microsoft equally, so it's not that bad of a deal, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, I haven't got my Xbox Series X or PS5, and I haven't been like motivated to pick up one. I mean, even having the money,
I'm motivated, but not that motivated. Like, there's not enough games, there's not enough exclusives, you know?
I would get
it just for Miles Morales, and then once I'm done with that game, what am I going to do? You know?
Yeah, I just used some money that I'd saved up to trade in my phone. My phone was 3 years old. I had a Samsung Galaxy 9 Plus, and I traded that in for one of the new Galaxy S21s. So traded that in, and then paid a little on top. And then got that. I mean, I could have taken that money, got a PS5 or Xbox Series X, but I just.
You know what you need to try out, Dennis, just so that we can get an honest-to-God review on it? Do you have Game Pass Ultimate?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not available yet in my country, but the xCloud is available in America. So next time you get the chance, just download the Game Pass app on your phone.
Okay.
Log in and let me know how that works. Like try out one or two of their games, see how it works. You can always connect an Xbox or PlayStation controller to your phone through Bluetooth. Make sure it's the version 2 controllers, because version 1 controllers lack the Bluetooth capability.
Yeah, I think because I have
if you have a newer controller, then it's version 2. I
have an Xbox One X, so that one should be right.
It should be version 2, yeah. So you should be fine. The version 1 was from the original Xbox One launch and PS4 launch. Version 2 started coming out recently, but I would love honestly, I think people watching this would also love to get your review on how it works. I can't get it to work in my country just yet, but yeah, it'll be right there. Like when you open up the Game Pass app on your phone, it'll be like, here's the games, and then there's actually like a little option that says streaming or xCloud, and you can actually try out some of the Game Pass games on your phone.
Right, I'm gonna download Game Pass right now.
You got a new phone as well, so it'll actually be like perfect to see what it's going to be capable of and how it's going to look. I'm interested. I'm interested to see your experience and like what's the latency is like, what the lag is like. Did you
All
get to
right.
try out Google Stadia at all?
No, I have not. I have not.
Okay. Well, yeah,
It's one
but
of those
either
things,
way, I want to review. I'm sure people watching want to review, so you're already paying for it. Definitely try that out for us this week if you get the chance. Hook up a controller because it
Yeah,
doesn't really work without a controller, as far as I know. But yeah, that's sick.
cool. All right, next topic we have Cyberpunk 2077. They've finally announced mod support, and I do know they had like some mod that had, like you could have sex with Keanu Reeves that they took
Yeah.
out.
Oh my god.
That they took
Just
out.
bump into my green screen.
And then on a side note, they had released the 1.1 version, which actually had a game-ending bug, which caused me to not play Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Game breaking
for this
bug,
past week. Yeah,
not game ending, but game breaking.
especially
Yeah.
game breaking. Basically, I was kind of near. I hadn't gotten to that part yet of the game, but I was close to it, so I didn't feel like playing it and then having to stop at that point. But they released another hot fix, so it supposedly fixes that issue. So now I can hop back on Cyberpunk. Like I said, now that I'm got Game Pass and I've been playing, I played. This is all Half-Life Alyx's fault because I knew I could only play Half-Life Alyx on PC, and I needed a VR capable PC. And I swapped my old graphics card to the one that you and me have, the 2060.
The 2060,
RTX.
yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like opened up this whole world of games in terms of like, oh, well, now I've got the medium that I can play on Game Pass. I don't have to get an Xbox Series X yet. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can play this version. I did another playthrough of Alan Wake. It was, I think, my third time playing Alan Wake, but my first time playing just on the PC. Like, just it's opened up like a whole, different, not world, but just like a different way to play some of these games. So yeah, I'm and with Cyberpunk 2077, it's a whole lot better experience on the PC than on the console.
That's for damn sure, dude. I am actually really excited to see what mods come out for Cyberpunk 2077 now that they've got like official mod support, and that should be a lot easier. I mean, obviously we're going to see some third-person mods. Hopefully we'll see some good third-person mods, because the first third-person mod I saw was horrifying. Because you're the character, you're not meant to be seen or looked at.
No,
yeah.
And there's no animation. You're just doing this.
That's why there's no reflections of you in the game. Like you got, except for the mirrors where you've actually got to like talk to it. Man, when I first played Cyberpunk, I had this like glitch where it changed my genitals in the game. There was this like, I'm not gonna lie, this was like the first week of the release. I played the game, and every time I looked in the mirror, my character had no pants on, and all of a sudden had a vagina. But then if I look down, like my character is wearing pants. It's just in the mirror where I'm naked, and it's so weird. And I don't like, they took away my penis. I was so upset. But yeah, it's the game's running a lot smoother now. Look, the patch was very small for PC people. Like I think on Steam, it was like a 5 gig one. If you had it on Epic or on Guild of Gamers, it was only like a 1 gig update. But if you had it on console, it was like a 20 gig update, because it was more aimed at console. This is the beginning. I think the 1.1 patch is the first of their like bigger patches. Like the 1.2 patch is going to be huge, and that'll mainly be focused for the PS4 as well. And then I think after that we might hopefully see some DLC. But it's nice that they gave us mod support. It's not a surprise. It's not like a big. I think we all knew we were going to get mod support eventually. Yeah. It was one of those games that kind of screamed and cried out for it. Like, let people mod it. You know what I mean? Same with like when they. Well, hold on. I don't know if GTA. I know GTA 5 has a lot of mods, but I don't think it has mod support, because I remember there was a while it got review bombed on Steam. GTA 5 like years ago was review bombed on Steam to the point where it still to this day has mixed reviews because of Rockstar was trying to shut down the modding community, and then obviously the community fought back by review bombing, and then they took their word back and they were like, okay, you guys can have mods, but they didn't. There's no support for it, which is interesting. But I'm glad that they've I'm glad that they're giving us some support, And I'm glad that they fixed the game-breaking bug that was in the new patch. Luckily, it seems that they fixed that relatively quickly. Sad that we can't have sex with Keanu Reeves anymore, but you win some, you lose some, Dennis.
Yeah, not a place that I was planning on going to anyways. But yeah, it's fine. All right, moving on. Tomb Raider anime series in development at Netflix. So there's just a big run of these anime series in development at Netflix. We talked about what The Witcher is going to have one. Resident Evil, I think, is having one. We already had the Castlevania one. Side note, this isn't on Netflix, but HBO is supposedly developing an anime for Game of Thrones. It's just interesting to see this medium kind of get a more mainstream adaptations for these very large franchises that you didn't see before. Like I'm trying to think in the 90s or 2000s. I mean, I know Sonic had their animated show. Like I'm trying to think of what were the past.
They got some weird ones upcoming as well. The people who are doing this, I just saw they've got shows that are they're based on games. Like they've got shows they got a game coming up that's based on My Friend Pedro, which is literally a guy who finds a talking banana who tells him to murder everyone. So that's going to be an interesting show about a guy who commits murder because of a banana. Disco Elysium
sounds like an Adult Swim type of anime.
Disco Elysium, I'm not too sure how they would adapt that into a show, but interesting. Life is Strange is essentially already basically a show. That would do well. I would like a live action version of Life is Strange. I think that they could do very well with that instead of animated. But for some reason they're doing it animated as well. And a movie. Oh, they have a movie based on sleeping dogs in development as well.
Yeah, but an animated movie. So
yeah, animated. I wonder where this is going to take place in terms of Tomb Raider. Like where is it going to be? Like starting from the beginning? Is it like? I mean, everyone knows who Lara Croft is. I wonder if they're going to give us an origin story again, or if they're just going to throw us right into the action. Straight up into the tomb raiding, which I think would be cool as well.
Legendary is working on a Skull Island anime series for Netflix. There's just so.
Which is going to be, that's sick for me. I love, because Skull Island, like you got dinosaurs, you got King Kong, I think that's cool. Skull Island would be a really cool show, Or like, I guess if they go the route of like having humans on Skull Island, how would humans survive living on Skull Island? That'd be really cool.
I mean, there was supposed to be that Pacific Rim anime series, and I think it was supposed to come out last year, but I don't think it ever did. I don't know if that's still in the works. I mean, I think it is. Let's see, at the end of 2020, Netflix showed off, I think, some.
While we're at it, I thought, just because there's been so many since we started doing this, since we started speaking about this like 2 years ago already, or like, about a year and a half ago, started talking about all these video game adaptations. It's worth mentioning how many are in development right now. So I'll just quickly blow through that in case you guys are wondering what video game movies. So obviously, Sonic the Hedgehog happened. We're going to get a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 eventually, which I'm so excited for. I really enjoyed that movie. We got the Monster Hunter movie. That's it was supposed to be released last year in September, but that didn't happen. Without Remorse. That was supposed to release also in September. Uncharted, we got Uncharted. Mortal Kombat, which I think if you look at, there's like an HBO Max sizzle trailer that they released for things coming to HBO Max, and they showed off a bit of the Mortal Kombat there. So I'm looking forward to Mortal Kombat.
No, the Monster Hunter came out. Monster Hunter came out December 18th. Yeah.
Dude, I completely missed that.
2020.
I don't think it released here. At least not on.
It released in the
cinema.
US.
Yeah, it didn't like hit the movies out here. I'm gonna have to find. Hopefully, I can rent it or something soon because I do want to check it out. The Uncharted movie.
Rental date is looking March 2nd, I think, is when the rental.
Okay, well, it's not too bad. And then also, obviously, we got the second Tomb Raider movie, and apparently they just changed directors. Like, there's a new director for the Tomb Raider movie. There's the Minecraft movie, which they've been talking about for the longest time, and I don't really know what they're gonna do it.
It's gotta be animated,
here's the premise. Sorry. Yeah, I'm guessing so, but it's the story of a teenage girl trying to save the overworld from an ender dragon. It's from the guy who made Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. So it's gonna be it's gonna feel like an indie movie. I'm there for that. Minecraft, the indie movie. There's going to be a second Assassin's Creed movie. Oh, this is exciting to actually talk about currently because they just cast it. But we knew there was a Borderlands movie coming, and they casted Kevin Hart as Roland. So we already know that it's going to be more of an emphasis on comedy. It's going to be an action comedy. We already know that. But people are like, no one's really upset about them having cast Kevin Hart. They're more just making jokes about it and memes because it's like, because he's short, and like. Roland is not short, so people were saying like, "Hell, who are they going to cast as Tiny Dwayne the Rock Johnson?" It's funny. Like, I'm curious as to see how they're casting, but at the same time, I'm happy with Kevin Hart playing Roland. I think it would. The character's not really a funny character, but it would be nice to see more comedy added to it. I'm more curious as to who they're going to cast to voice Claptrap, but I'm looking for it. The fact that they've got Kevin Hart on board to do Borderlands does give me a bit more hope to it, and I think it's going to be a good action comedy. It'll be funny. Mm-hmm. There's a Call of Duty movie in the works apparently. There's a Carmen Sandiego movie. There's a Centipede movie based on the game Centipede. Contra, The Division, Duke Nukem, Firewatch is getting a movie apparently, which also makes sense to me because that was just a walking simulator / story, Five Nights at Freddy's, that makes sense to me. Fruit Ninja. Well, how's Fruit Ninja going to be a movie?
I don't know.
What the heck?
Basically, what it boils down to is this. The comic book genre is still going strong, but they've kind of not exhausted, but some of the bigger IPs have already been taken or are being used. And so, the movie and television industry, a lot of it relies on IP that has already been proven. Like, let's say Harry Potter, it was a best-selling book series before it became a movie. So they need more IPs. And now video games is kind of this untapped market because for so long people didn't take them seriously. And much like how comic book movies used to be where they weren't very good. I mean, people will argue video game movies aren't very good either, but I believe that we're going to enter this new era where video game movies and video game televisions are going to be starting to be done in higher quality, much like how comic book films were. And so now they're just scooping up stuff left and
right. What do you think
insane.
Is going to be the IP or movie that's gonna officially make that how Iron Man was the you could argue the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire was the boom of superhero movies, but the real start of the boom of superhero movies was that Iron Man movie. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, people could argue is the first.
You could also argue
movie.
Blade, I guess, or X-Men.
Yeah, Blade. I think even though it was a superhero movie, people thought of it as more of a horror action.
More of a
film.
Zombie movie. I mean, vampire movie. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the Borderlands movie. I think that's going to be the turning point.
You think it's going to be what?
I think it's going to be the Borderlands movie. I think that's going to be the turning point.
Really?
I think Mortal Kombat is going to be well received, but I don't think people are going to look at Mortal Kombat and go, "Oh, this is a commercial success. Let's invest in a bunch more video game movies," especially because of the cinemas being shut down and stuff. Then again, we'll see what the numbers look like because it's going to be on HBO Max. But I think a good action comedy, I'm not relating it to Deadpool, but I feel like the Borderlands movie could do as well as that initial Deadpool, especially if they go rated R comedy. They got Kevin Hart already. He's hilarious, That could be the turning point. I'm going to finish. I'm not going to finish off this list because it's long, but there's a couple on here that's weird for me. Besides, Half-Life makes sense to me. I would love a Half-Life movie or TV show. J.J. Abrams wants to do it. J.J. Abrams also wants to do, I believe, what was it? A Portal movie. So J.J. Abrams, he's looking at doing Portal. But Just Dance is apparently getting a movie. Just Dance gonna get a movie. There's a couple that really hasn't been spoken about in 10 years, but apparently the guy who did the Karate Kid remake is doing a Roller Coaster Tycoon movie. Don't know what that's going to be about. Super Mario the movie, Tetris, Watch Dogs. A lot of stuff coming through, but yeah, I don't know. I have high hopes for the Borderlands movie. I think it's gonna bring in good money and I think it's gonna. I just think it's gonna do good, and it's gonna make other people want to do more movies like that. You know.
All right. Let me see here. Oh, the one that I think may do it, but also there's a caveat to it, is the Last of Us HBO series. I think it can be very high quality. You have Craig Mazin who wrote Chernobyl.
Oh, isn't there a Fallout series as well in works?
Yes, on Amazon.
HBO and on Amazon. Was it Amazon or HBO?
It's Amazon.
Oh yeah, it was. The reason I think HBO is because it has the director from Westworld. That's why I was thinking HBO. Yeah.
But my caveat for Last of Us is this: it can, let's say it comes out and it's very well received and it does well and people love it. People might not know it's a video game movie. You know what I mean? Like
exactly, yeah.
It has a vibe to it that people could easily watch and just, not really even acknowledge that has anything to do with video games. So
the same way, I'm sure most people who watched when Game of Thrones first came out, when it was just season 1, I'm sure most people watching didn't know it was based off of books, you know?
Yeah. But then, George R. R. Martin became huge and whatnot, and people started reading the books because of the show or whatever. I don't know how many people are going to run out to play Last of Us. I
don't think it's going to do good. They're not going to be playing the game. I mean, maybe you'll, depending on how, like, if they do like cliffhangers, if they're only going to explore the first game, it might be able to hype up some sales for the second game. But considering, like, the chain of command is so different then. Like, Naughty Dog's they're not going to be making a bunch of money off of the TV show for The Last of Us. You know what I mean? They're not going to be that involved with it. So, I don't think it's going to be. You're right. They're not going to be marketing for people to play the game from watching the series, But I think it's one of those where it's even like Fallout. Like, I mean, Fallout is a very well-known genre. Sorry, it's a well-known IP. It's a well-known game. But that series, I feel like, is also going to be the type of series where you could easily not know anything about Fallout and watch it because it's a post-apocalyptic TV series. That's a genre in and of itself, I guess.
Let's see here. What's next? Oh, here we go. Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
There's going to be the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions. It's not coming out next month, but they're showing it off at the War Table, which takes place on February 16th. And then also, what else? The long-awaited arrival of Kate Bishop. Yeah, or no, Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye.
The next free big DLC following the arrival of Kate Bishop. So, to be honest, I haven't really kept up with the Avengers Online multiplayer game. I mean, I enjoyed the single player campaign. I probably liked it more than most people did. But I haven't really. The multiplayer it was fun for a little while, but it never kept me hooked in, like, to keep playing.
Even after you got, because you guys were streaming it on the channel, and I could even tell, like, when you guys were done playing it, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to carry on playing this in my spare time.
It didn't have enough variety from it.
Yeah.
To be honest, it didn't have enough variety.
It was repetitive, essentially.
Yeah.
I still want to get it just for the story, because I know I will enjoy the story. But I'm wondering if I should just watch it on YouTube, watch a playthrough on YouTube or something. Or if it's better for me to just, because I know, like, the whole reason I want that game is for the story.
The story's
good. I never
wanted
it for the multiplayer. I never wanted it for the multiplayer. But just the story.
I think it's worth playing just for the last few levels. The last few levels are very high quality. It's just there's a part in the middle where it kind of gets repetitive, where you're kind of doing the same thing over and over, just to stretch out the gameplay time, But the last few levels
So here's the real question about this. Do you think they're going to be able to recover their development costs? Because they still haven't recovered their development costs yet.
I don't know. I mean, the problem was their microtransactions were so high. I think they've reduced them now, but they were so high from the beginning. It, I think, turned a lot.
Their servers are still dead. Like they got dead servers, which is not like it's like it's not a horrible game. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
it's just that currently there are so much other better multiplayer games for you to be playing. You know what I mean? In that regards, I don't think that they realize how
Ghost of
big the
Tsushima,
competition is.
I don't even play the multiplayer game, and it's not because I didn't like it. I thought the multiplayer was awesome. It's
really
it's just
good,
one of those things. I mean, remember, everything's competing with your time, right? Your video games, other video games, movies, television. I mean, okay, whatever. You just binged Mandalorian, right? That was how many episodes? I think it was 8 episodes.
8 or 10, yeah.
I know it's definitely not 10. It was, I think, 8 or 9 or something like that. Then you just spent, I think they were about 45 minutes each. So you spent six hours watching that show. That's 6 hours you didn't have to play whatever game or watch some movie or whatever. So everything's vying for attention, and so when
it didn't seem rewarding enough either. Like you said with Ghost of Tsushima, it's rewarding. You're leveling up. You're getting new items all the time. It looked like the rewards you got for doing missions in the multiplayer didn't seem like it was worth it. You know, like
because it was too focused on microtransactions.
I didn't get excited about it. You know,
because a lot of the Avengers stuff was focused on microtransaction stuff or whatever. So. Anyway.
I mean, look, it's going to get, some people are going to be playing it, but you also have to remember, not the amount of people who have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X is a lot smaller than the amount of people who have a PS4 or an Xbox One. So they're going to get some people back on the servers, but whether they recover their development costs or not, I'm not too sure. Look, they've still got the Spider-Man DLC coming soon as well. That might bring back some players. But I feel horrible saying that, but this seems like one of those games where I feel like it doesn't matter what they do, unless they really pull some like magnificent like real-time event out of their ass. I don't really see this game getting busy again. Like, I don't see their servers getting busy again. You know?
Yeah, it's very hard. I'll compare it to a television show, right? When you have a television show and there becomes a point where people start dropping out, you know, because whatever the storyline, or it's just not interesting anymore. And let's say later on, maybe some new writers come in or some new fresh blood comes in and the show gets better again. It's very hard to get the people who left to come back. And that's how it is with these online multiplayer games, because it's like once people are like, okay, I'm not really that interested. It's very hard to get them back.
I thought Hyperscape was a lot of fun, but it died, man. Not even like a week after its actual release. It just, no one played it. You know, they marketed that game very well as well, and it was a good fun game. It was fast paced, but it just died out, man. I don't know. It's such a gamble to release games as a service nowadays, unless you know you've got a hit on your hands. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's
the gamble.
Thing.
That's the gamble, right? That's the whole thing with these. Not everyone can be a Fortnite or Apex Legends.
Exactly, yeah.
So you got to be wary. All right, let's move on to this.
Talk about Activision.
Go ahead. Yes, let's talk about Activision. So Activision, the original title of this article, and there's an update to it as well. So basically, there was a report that Activision Blizzard was resisting the adoption of hiring practice that would require the company to interview at least one candidate who is a qualified woman or minority candidate. And in some filings, their attorney said this practice was unworkable because the largest labor federation had submitted a proposal to them saying they adopt a policy that every job that they have, that they at least interview one woman.
Well, include. Or not even an interview, but they have to include.
No. This is to interview. They don't have to hire them. They just have to interview them.
Requesting it adopt a hiring policy that would require each company to include women and people. Oh, and the potential candidates. You're right. Yeah. So just in the hiring pool.
It's if anyone knows football, it's the Rooney Rule, which is in football, in the NFL for a long time, there was complaints because none of the coaches were African American or black, but so many players were, and they were saying that they weren't giving the opportunity. So the NFL adopted a rule where, like, look, anytime there was an open vacancy, it doesn't mean that a black candidate got the job. It just meant they had to be at least interviewed. And so
considered for it, yeah.
Yes. And so this report kind of came out and people were upset. And then now Activision has released a full statement saying, no. The people who wrote this were our outside attorneys, and they didn't, who knows what the truth is, like they're basically saying these attorneys really didn't know what we really meant or whatnot. So they're basically saying, no, we did not say this, and we are all for diverse workforce, and that this is not exactly what we meant to say.
Yeah.
So,
it was like a miswording, because I don't think that they were ever against having a diverse crew. It's just like, when you think of like a company this large, you got to think of like, there are small things that save money in the long run, where it's like, look, you should always be hiring, unless you're casting movies or TV shows. But if like when you're working, like just when you're talking about like normal work or with whatever it is, your race, religion, creed should never matter. You know what I mean? You should be hiring regardless of those things, regardless of whatever race or gender or religion or creed you have. You should be hired regardless of that. You know what I mean? But I guess the issue is like, there are, at least from the original statement, the only possible way I could justify it is if it is an issue of like the amount of time and money spent looking for those minority candidates is time and money that could be spent on something else. You know what I mean? Instead of just, putting out the application and being like, hey, apply, like whoever applies, and we look at the application pulled in. But it's
I don't think it takes that much. I mean, the original wording.
That's what I was gonna say. Now, it can't. Surely, like it can't take that much. It's not like that much time. You're not using your developers to go and look for candidates. You're not really wasting potential time or money. So, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. I mean, I do covering their ass though with the second statement.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand. Look, I'm pretty sure it's a fact. There's, not as many women in the industry as men, so it may be harder to find minorities. I think there's probably significantly more minorities than there are women in the industry. I'm just saying that as a guess. I don't have actual facts for that. I'm just guessing.
That makes sense.
There's a lot of Asian people in games and whatnot. So, but I just don't think it's that hard to find. You know what I mean? Like you could if you wanted to. Now the thing is I don't think you should hire a person based on whether they're a minority or a woman, but just to give them a chance. I don't think that's an issue, because you're just hiring. You should hire whoever's the most qualified. Period. Right? Or at least qualified for what you need them to do. But
I would feel horrible if I got a job because they needed to fill their one white guy per office category. I'd be like, I feel so shitty sitting at my desk going, man, I'm here just because they needed to fill their one white guy quota. So luckily, it's like I said, I'm glad it's not that, because I misread the article. I thought it was like an enforcing of like a rule where it's like you have to have a diverse workplace, where it's
to me it could be it could be a tiebreaker, in the sense of like, okay, if you have this one position open and it's
both people are equally qualified.
Yes, both people are equally qualified. Person
than yet.
Yeah, that I think is fair.
It looks good not just to the general public, but it looks good. And it just look, having a diverse business it just looks good for you when it comes to any kind of business trading. You know what I mean? When it comes to working with other businesses, I think of that as well. Like colleges and universities, they thrive on diversity. They make more money by being diverse. And it's just like, it's one of those things where like, unless you're really a horrible person, you should be aiming for diversity in your company anyways, because it's like.
And this one, it doesn't even say you have to hire. You just have to interview. That's it. Just have to interview. Yeah. So I don't see where the big I don't see where the big problem is. But anyway,
I guess, mind you, like I'm still thinking from that whole millennial / Zoomer point of view, where it's like, big bad evil people. I don't encounter them nearly as much You know what I mean? Especially being, I guess, like a white male. But it's one of those things where I forgot where I was going with this point.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Keep going.
I don't know where I'm going. That's all right.
You're not encountering big bad people. I don't know what this has to do with what we're talking about.
Well, look, sorry. Yeah, it's a practice that will essentially look if the people who are like interviewing, not the people who are going for the jobs, you know, but the people who are interviewing the possible applicants, if they're like really old, biased people, I suppose having this kind of system in place will stop them from being, well, at least it'll like. Maybe not stop them, but like slow them down from being less biased. It'll make them less biased. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, this is what my feeling is. Look, if you have someone who's prejudiced or biased, they're going to be prejudiced or biased no matter what. I think this is more for when you have kind of the less obvious, more underneath bias that maybe you don't even know about, and that maybe
that subtle.
That maybe
subtle prejudice, you know.
Yeah, where maybe it's not even something you're even aware of, and that maybe if you do interview a particular candidate and they, you know, are surprised or blow you away, and they happen to be a woman or a minority, then you have the opportunity to see that different perspective or a different type of person,
to grow as a person, you know, which is cool.
And then maybe that will surprise you. Like I said, you're not forced to do it, so you just have to interview. Interview is not
either way.
Interview is not hiring.
It's a good policy, you know. It's a good policy.
Yeah.
It definitely stops companies from, you know, like actively only searching for a specific type of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. This one's just a simple thing. G4 confirms X-Play Attack of the Show coming back in 2021, probably the summertime. For people who don't know, G4 was like a tech video game TV channel, which...
Olivia Munn. We spoke about this like a year ago. I remember this.
Yeah, that's where she got recognized and became, you know, her first big break. Which led her on to her acting career. But they had two shows on there. The two most popular shows they had were X-Play and Attack of the Show. X-Play was more like video game focused. Attack of the Show had video games, but it was more almost like a variety show. I mean, it was like definitely entertainment focused, video games being the primary thing, but they also had some movies, television, tech type stuff. They did a lot of more comedy type of stuff on there as well. That's where Olivia Munn is from. But anyways, they're coming back this summer. I don't think they've said who exactly will be coming back. I can't imagine Olivia Munn coming back other than for like maybe a guest appearance. But now it's going to be online, which makes more sense.
The production of it, which I doubt.
I mean, that the whole thing of why kind of G4 and these shows kind of weren't sustainable anymore. It was like they were using television budgets and using the television medium for something that eventually everyone was like watching on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like it just became a thing where.
Do you think they're going to go straight to YouTube with this, or do you think they're going to make a deal with the streaming service?
I don't know. I don't know, but
I think originally their plan was to just go to YouTube. I remember that when we first covered it like a year ago. That was their game plan, was to do it as a YouTube show, and then like you said, Olivia Munn would probably only come every now and then. Yeah. Whereas, like, I'm sure if they made a deal with like Hulu or Netflix to make it like a weekly show thing, then I'm sure she'd probably be back, or at least be more involved. If she's above the line, that is.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it for me. What do you got before we?
Bunch of small things. Well, for one, there's the article I linked you in the Discord, which I think you'll find quite exciting, which is PlayStation filed a new patent for a technology that lets spectators mess with the people who are in VR, which is, it seems like they're going for more of like a party aspect, you know, once again, honing in on the whole, like PSP, the PlayStation VR experience seems to be pushing more towards a family environment, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And one person, because VR headsets are expensive. Like this whole patent seems to be more about the whole, okay, we're going to do big games where like you can have multiple people playing the same game. One person's in VR. A bunch of people are not in VR controlling it. I think of things like, games like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which is a great VR game, and also non-VR game where one person has to defuse the bomb and the other person has the manual to the bomb. Yes. And you can't see the bomb. It's a really fun game. Highly recommended if you've never played it. It's fun in VR and not in VR. So I think of games like that. So it's definitely an option for a lot more party games to be coming out around the future.
My
and also
question
means
is,
that they're obviously going to be pushing for a PSVR 2 at some point, you know?
my question is, can you patent that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a concept.
Yeah.
It's been done before, and people are still doing it. Like, that's what I'm thinking is, like, how do you patent that?
Like, unless there's like, because there's no like technology involved in this. This is just an idea, if you think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's almost like like this is a very obscure reference, but it's like patenting air guitaring. You know, anyone can air guitar. If you, I feel like, it makes me think of when the Fine brothers tried to patent the word react. Like, you can't do reaction videos. We patent that. Only we can do reaction videos. You know, it's like, how are they gonna? How is this patent really gonna stop other developers from? Because essentially, like, this patent would have stopped, like, the game Keep Talking and Nobody. Well, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. You're not actually dealing with the person playing the game. You're just talking to them. You're more of a dealing with them through a physical piece of paper, you know. But probably, it seems like it's probably going to be mobile phones that interact with it. So I feel like that's the only way that they're going to be able to patent it, is if it has to do some kind of technology connecting your phone and your PlayStation. If they're going to be doing it the same way that like Jackbox Party Games does their mobile game system kind of thing, I don't know. But you got a good that's a very good question. It's like, how do you really patent this? You know what I mean? You'll be able to help or screw over the main character in virtual reality depending on the available choices. This will augment the VR scene based on the spectator inputs in response to the interactive content of the audience participation content. Once again, that's not a technology, that's just an idea.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like the patent went through, so, or I don't know if it's it could be patent pending, but I thought that might be worth bringing up. Let's see, a couple other things here. This is just a little fun, like, this is more geek gamer news than anything else, which is obviously Star Wars had the huge anniversary recently, and America is releasing droid-themed stamps, which I think is just a cool little thing, man. You're gonna have Star Wars stamps, you know. If you're still doing old school snail mail, if you got a pen pal, you can now send them your mail with a little Star Wars stamp on it. I thought that was quite cute to bring up. Hitman 3 made back its development costs within a week, which is exciting news. Also managed to watch a lot more of the gameplay on Hitman 3, and it looks like a really fun game. So I definitely want to pick it up at some point, but I don't want to. I want to start from the big. Actually, I saw that I do own Hitman 1 on Epic Games, so I'm going to play that. Hopefully, find Hitman 2 and carry on. It looks like a fun game. So they made their money back within a week. That's always good news. I think that's an amalgamation of having released it at the right time and having done a fair amount of marketing, because their marketing wasn't like usual embargoes where it was like a week or two before the time. Their marketing was like, it's ready now, it's available now. You know what I mean? And I thought that was that managed to work as well. Also, no other big competitions. Free games for PS Plus. We actually, this is a bit of drama regarding this, but you can actually pick up Control, which will be free. It's going to be free in February. I don't know the exact date. Usually it's either the 3rd or the 5th of the month that they release the game. But they're releasing Control on the PS4. I think PS5.
Right now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is free on PS Plus.
Yeah, for this month, I believe, for January. Yeah. It's about to run out. So if you haven't picked that up yet, pick it up. Then there's that other game where when we saw it announced, I told you where I don't know what the hell's going on. There's cars and there's people. I'm not too sure. So Destruction All Stars is going to be free as well. So I'll be able to play it and actually figure out what the heck it's about, which would be interesting. But yeah, definitely pick up Control when it's free. It's only going to be free, I think, like for a limited amount of time. And then the version that's free, it comes with the free upgrade as well, which is why people are upset, because people have already paid for the Control Ultimate bundle or Ultimate Edition or whatever it is that comes with the upgrade, and people are upset that they've now paid for that, whereas you can essentially get it for free if you're on PlayStation Plus, you know, which is a fair point, you know, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. So it's just people are upset about that. But yeah. So this for me is big news, which is that there's like, well, we don't know if it's going to be a Skate sequel or if it's going to be a Skate reboot. But essentially, we're finally getting another Skate game. And EA confirmed it. It's from a team called Full Circle, which is going to be led by Daniel McCulloch, the former head of Bucks Live at Microsoft, returning Skate producers. So they've got the original Skate producers as well, which is good. After seeing the success of the previous Tony Hawk's game, I think that this game is going to sell well. Also, Skate 3 is still one of the most played games, considering it was on the PS3, I think, or that was that generation of consoles, and the community is still thriving to this day, even on YouTube. People are still playing the game. People are still making maps, like custom maps in that game. You know what I mean? So I would love just a Skate 3 remake or reboot, or just if they could if they could give us a remake of the first 3 games in total, I'd love that. Or even a sequel, anything to do with the genre, I'm gonna love. So they've got the original producers on board. I'm excited for that. I think it's gonna be a while until we get any news about this. We're definitely not gonna see it anytime soon. Because it's in very early development, so we're definitely not going to see much about this. But yeah, it's also going to be it's going to be open world as well. We know that, so that's exciting. Biomutant is finally going to be coming out. A lot of information around that. If you guys are interested in that, I'm not going to talk about it because there's actually too much to talk about right now. But if you guys are interested in Biomutant, look it up. There's a lot of arguments as to why it took so long. I believe it was developed by a team of only 20 people, which makes sense. It's why the game was delayed, you know what I mean, with COVID and all that. But the game's finally coming out. It looks great. It looks fun. Looking forward to that. The next Tomb Raider game is apparently going to unify the reboot trilogy to the original game. It's going to tie the two in together. That's interesting. Weird. Oh yeah, the Control fiasco that I spoke about, the Ultimate Editions. It's the lack of save transfers, and the PS Plus announcement has upset people because they've lost a bit of. They've essentially, there was no point in them buying it. You know what I mean? And this is a little bit of fun news, which is that Tesla's next car, or let me get this correct. Tesla's their new cars, the Model X and Model S cars, they're gonna have gaming hardware supporting up to 10 teraflops of processing power. So. Let me get this correct for a second here. So yeah, the previous models could play games like Cuphead, for instance, which is also pretty fun. Like, I'd love to play Cuphead in a Tesla while I'm waiting for my Tesla to charge. But moving forward, you're going to be able to play games like The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 is going to run better on a Tesla than it does on a PS4, which is hilarious to me. Like, we're going to reach a point in time where the game actually runs better on a car than it does on console. I feel like that's just another flex by Tesla. Like, I don't think that you need teraflops. I don't think you need 10 teraflops of processing power in a smart car. Like, I don't think that your self-driving AI is going to need that much. It's there purely for entertainment purposes. They know that. I think they've seen a lot of success with their Teslas and the gaming involved with the Teslas, like with their own little Mario Kart game and all of those kinds of things. So that's interesting moving forward. This is quite sad news. The Resident Evil Village actress, Janet Mouse, she's died at the age of 39.
Yeah, I saw that.
She's the voice actress from the new Resident Evil Village game. So a lot of fans are quite upset about that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Yeah, it was worth mentioning. Yeah, Cyberpunk 27 on the new Tesla Model S. I still think that's hilarious. You know what? And then if you are a part of our Discord, of the Revog Discord, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a surprise link in the Discord for you. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. You're going to have to join our Discord. You're going to have to go to our general chat because I'm linking it there right now. It's just a fun little thing that I found. That's all. We're just going to leave it there.
Cool.
Hopefully bring some people to the Discord. So if you guys want to know what my little mystery link is, be sure to join us on Discord. I've got a couple other few things here. Make sure we got some more information on the specs as to what with Apple VR, what they want to do. And it's just, if you guys are interested in that, let me know, because I'm sure me and Dennis could do a video on that. But it's a lot of tech mumbo jumbo currently. More about like what CPUs they're going to be using, what resolutions, etc., like that. Kevin Hart joins Borderlands. We spoke about that. Apex Legends. We spoke about this last week, but they released another trailer for Season 8, and it is looking sexy, man. It's looking good. So the obliterated the King's Canyon is what they're calling it. So they've changed up the course again. It's looking fun. I'm looking forward to getting into it. But this is something that I'm going to link you this because I'm quite excited about this. NVIDIA is releasing, or at least they've patented it so far, but they plan on releasing their own controller. Let me link this to you here so you can take a look at it. And I think it's going to do really well. It makes me think of the Steam controller, which didn't do that well because it's difficult to get that mouse, like the accuracy you have with a mouse compared to a joystick is vastly different. Anyone's going to tell you this, right? And I've seen people mod their own consoles to be able to have something similar, but even the Valve Steam controller had an issue where it used a motion pad or a touch pad for your thumb, and the accuracy was a bit better. But if you look at this, they've basically it's NVIDIA, and all they've done is they've switched out the right stick for, it looks like the ball that used to be on the really old mouses we used to have, you know what I mean? But it's just a little trackpad, and I think it genuinely could do really well. You're gonna it's gonna up your FPS game, because I've seen people mod their own controllers to look like this, and they've had better accuracy playing games like Warzone, for instance. So I think whether it's gonna be a commercial success, I don't know, but it doesn't look very satisfying. I'll be honest, the D-pad looks shameful. The D-pad I don't know if you're looking at it, Dennis, but the D-pad looks shameful.
Take a look. Does it look like old black and white old PlayStation D-pads? Because old PlayStation D-pads sucked. I mean, they're better now, but
yeah, that's what, because it's the D-pad is one button, and I hate it when the D-pad is just one piece of plastic. I hate it when they do that. But I have high hopes for this controller. I'm sure they're going to be linking it into their the Shield thing that they have going, their own little mobile gaming thing.
Oh yeah, NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah, looks like it's micro USB. It seems like that, at least. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the D-pad, but they have like 3 triggers. I don't know if you can see that. It's interesting. Like, instead of having 4 triggers like usual, they have 6 in total. Where it's like in between your triggers, you've got another like button that's kind of off to the side. I don't know if you can see that. So they have extra buttons, and I think that's going to be quite cool. It gives it like a slight pro controller look to it. Once again, I hope they fix the D-pad, but I'm looking forward to that.
Are you sure that's not a substitute? No, I guess you're right. Yeah, there's an extra button there.
Yeah, there's like a little extra controller there in between it.
I feel like I'd accidentally press it
underneath where your fingers are. You know.
I feel like I'd accidentally press it a lot.
Yeah, it is in a place where, like, especially if you're like your index fingers clicking like L1 and R1, I feel like you'd accidentally like stub that as well. But yeah, I mean, mind you, let's see if they even build it in the first place. I'm probably one of the only people that would want this because it looks quite interesting. It's essentially that, like, people have released a half controller where you can play with a mouse in your right hand, and then your left hand is literally just half a controller, which has got your left stick, and it's interesting. So some people have gone with that approach, and I see people game like that. So I think this will be quite cool. I'm looking forward to that. So IO, the people doing the James Bond game, this is small news, but they've announced that it's going to be a trilogy. So we'll be seeing more James Bond games in the future. It's going to be a whole little trilogy, overarching story most likely. Let's see. And this is just Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator is free to keep on Steam for a limited time. So it's a free game on Steam, which is rare. Like, you get free games on Steam, but they're like actual free-to-play games. This is just a game they're giving away for free. Thought that'd be worth mentioning. And then I'd love to get your take on this. Are you a football fan, Dennis?
Football as in soccer?
American football.
American football. Pigskin. I really haven't been keeping up the last few years. I've been so into it's funny because, like, once you get into like MMA and UFC, it's like there's no off season for MMA or UFC.
That's true.
It's like almost every week. So that just kind of takes up most of my time. So
sorry, I just got excited. It took me a while, but I watched the fight.
The
Damn.
McGregor
God
Dustin
damn.
fight. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
fight. I
it
mean,
was
I wish it
brutal,
lasted
man.
longer. I wish it lasted longer.
I think a
'Cause,
lot of people. I think Connor wishes lasted longer too.
well, I mean, Connor actually won that first round. He won that first round, and then in the second round, those leg kicks just took their toll, and
Yeah, man.
he just
The
couldn't handle it
memes are
anymore.
crazy. But I don't know. It seems to be like some people do want us to possibly start an MMA talk thing. So we'll see how that goes in the future.
Well, also
But getting
movies and
back to
television, and movies and
yeah,
television
movies and
too.
television. Yeah, which there's a lot this year, so that makes sense if we do like a movie talk thing. But real quick, going back. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, but basically, Rocket League is essentially adding a mechanic that they're calling it's the NFL mode. So you can carry the ball, and there's an out of bounds rule, and they're basically turning a game that was just soccer into now they have an American football mode, which I think look, it's going to be better than their basketball mode, which I think they got rid of basketball because it was more difficult. Like unless you're a pro who can do aerials all the time, it was really difficult to get the ball up and into a hoop. So I know they removed it. They had their ice hockey version, which was kind of fun, which was just this giant puck and it was a lot and slippery. I think it's going to be one of those limited ones where it's gridiron. It's 4-on-4. I think that it's going to be a limited run. I don't know, because it seems like they put a lot of effort into this, like a lot of effort into the rules. The standard Rocket League ball has been replaced with an American football. Touching the ball attaches it to the roof of your car. In Spike Rush, the ball would attach or wherever your car made contact. But in Gridiron, it will always be on the top of your car. So as soon as you touch the car, the ball's on top of your car. If any player touches the ball, that player becomes the ball carrier, setting up the opportunity for a hands-off to teammates or to steal the ball from the other team. The carrier can single jump but not double jump. If you double jump, you drop the ball, so you can fumble. You can also pass the ball by dodging. Like, this is really in depth. I don't know. I think it's going to do well, but whether it stays around as a game mode, I'm not too sure. It's just interesting because their whole thing is basically soccer. You know, it's using little remote-controlled rocket-powered cars to play some
People like
soccer.
variety. People do
like variety. I think it's going to, especially now that the game is free to play on everything. If you guys didn't know that, Rocket League is now free to play on every console, PC included, etc. So definitely try it. Like, it's free to play. Try it out. I'm going to try it out when this comes out. It seems interesting. And then Riot. This is just more for me, which is Riot mocks Valorant hackers. It says it will ban anyone who rides the cheat bus on the highway to hell. Is their exact quote. So it's I will say though that that's the one thing that I have enjoyed the most about Riot is they've been very good at handling bans and getting rid of people, because when I first started playing Valorant, the community was toxic. So much racism, so much like sexism, just like horrible things. But the report system is so good now that like now here we are, like I think we're on the second or third act, and it's like I don't really meet I meet salty people, but they're not yelling racial slurs and like homophobic things and sexist things. You know what I mean? Because I think people are more afraid of their bans. Because if you report someone, they will listen to all the audio from the game, and if you said hate speech, you will get banned. You know? So I like that. I like the fact that they're being harsh towards hackers and cheaters and just toxic people in general. I guess they've had a lot of experience dealing with League of Legends. You know. But yeah, that's all I've got for this week.
Yeah, I think Apex Legends banned like 2 very high-ranked people.
They banned some hackers, yeah. Well, there were competition players and pros who were hacking, so
yeah,
rightfully so.
Cheating, yeah. So,
all
right.
It's one thing to be a cheater; it's another thing to be a cheater making money cheating. You know.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for this week. Let me see. Yeah, why don't you play some more or start playing the Medium, and then we can talk a little bit more about it next week.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we can do like
we could even maybe midweek do our own review of it if you want.
Yeah, depending how far I get, but so far.
Depending on how far you get, yeah. I'm probably going to get really far tonight, most likely.
Yeah, cool. All right, Josh, thanks for joining me, and everyone who's watching and listening. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. That's youtube.com/Revog. That's REVOG. You can follow me on Twitter @ThinkHero, Instagram Dennis.tzng. Still looking for a podcast place to host the podcast version. I know we haven't had that for a few weeks, actually a couple months actually now, but still trying to figure stuff out. Josh, anything last things you want to say before we take off?
No, you guys can find me right here on the Revog channel. You guys can find me in the Revog Discord. Be sure to join our Discord. If you guys have any questions or if you guys just want to play some games, hit me up. I don't no, genuinely, like you guys can hit me up about anything. If I'm online, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And you guys can check out the little mystery link that I dropped there in the general chat. For the most part, yeah, you guys can find me right here. I've deleted all socials. My life has been better since. And I'm working on my own VTuber, which is interesting. So when that's ready, maybe I'll announce it to you guys. I'm not too sure. It's really been difficult, actually. Like, the software I'm using is user-friendly, but even then, like, creating your own, like, 3D model it's difficult, you know, especially if you don't have any experience. So I've been working on that. So who knows? Maybe I'll share my experience through the Discord if you guys are interested in how that's going. It's I'll be using, looks like I'm using the same software as CodeMiko, but it won't be of the same quality because that's like insane. Her quality is insane. So hopefully I'll be, who knows, maybe in a few weeks from now I'll join you guys virtually as my VTuber.
All right. Until next week, we'll see you guys later.